the Sons of Antiquity present The Hot Take Show. Today's episode...
Santa's coming to town!
Hello everyone, welcome back to The Hot Take Show. I'm your host Dan, and I'm joined in the studio by my co-host Evan.
Greetings.
Today we'll be giving our takes on a favorite American icon, Santa Claus. That's right, Saint Nick himself. And to any parents watching, be advised that this episode is not for children.
Now, are any of these episodes actually kid-friendly?
Well, I guess not.
I would like to bring up a perennial question. Should we tell kids about Santa? Should we play along? Or perhaps bravely tell them the truth in the face of adversity?
In a stunning and brave fashion.
So brave.
If by that you mean, should we tell kids that Santa isn't real? Then I'd say no. Let's let them have some fun. It may seem silly to adults, but kids like believing in Santa and writing letters and all that good stuff. And at the end of the day, it's harmless fun. No kid grows up to have
psychological trauma
after finding out Santa isn't real. Ha! Wouldn't that kid be a loser? To be fair, parents have to lie to their kids all the time. It's a necessary part of the job, you might say. Your pet goldfish, he didn't run away from home. Your uncle from California isn't growing okra in his apartment. And mom and dad aren't doing their taxes when they're alone in their room. Santa is a fun tradition, so let the kids have their fun.
Let me be the Grinch for a moment. And yes, I know this isn't my first time in the role. I do not believe that we should be pushing Santa on kids so hard. Sure, let them imagine that Santa is real. Let them watch the movies. Let them read the books. That is okay because it's fiction, and you don't have to tell them that all the books and movies they watch are make-believe. But I draw the line at actively lying to your kids. If you're telling them that Santa flies his reindeer around, commits breaking and entering, and leaves them gifts, you're part of the problem. You shouldn't be lying to people, as a rule, especially over something so silly. The Nazi isn't at the door asking for the Jews in the attic. You don't have to lie to avoid greater evils. It's just a made-up story.
Come on, it's just silly fun for kids.
Now, kids can have fun playing pretend. They don't have to believe that they're actually cats in order to have fun crawling around and meowing at people.
Now, still, I think it's harmless. Well, more harmless than trans-speciesism, at least.
Is it harmless, though? It wasn't harmless for me, I'll tell you that much. When I was told Santa wasn't real, I pretty much already knew. But it really broke my trust in my parents to hear them admit it. I trusted my parents a lot. And that's why it took me longer than some to realize that it was all a facade. My first thought after hearing them was, so God isn't real either, I suppose. My dad must have read my mind because he said, God is real, by the way. I was reassured, but that thought always lingered. Who could I trust?
You were a dramatic kid.
Perhaps. But I have one more major objection to Santa. I know that Santa Claus comes from St. Nicholas of Myra, a bishop around 1700 years ago. But the modern-day American Santa is so distant from the real St. Nick and so commercialized that there is basically no connection between the two. Europe does it better. Their Santa, they call him by different names, looks more like an actual bishop, and it is less about the lore and more about gift giving. Personally, we won't rain on my daughter's parade and straight up tell her that Santa isn't real, because this is the first year she's very excited about Santa.
As she should be.
We never told her about Santa, by the way.
Oh, really? So this will be a surprise when she gets to sit on Santa's lap and then talk to him. This will be like a whole new thing.
She's just picking it up. It's that natural. It's that saturated in our culture, some might say. But she won't get any presents from Santa. And if she starts asking questions, we won't lie to her. And we started celebrating St. Nicholas's feast day this year. On December 6th, you put gifts in their shoes and put it on the fireplace for them to see when they get up that morning. They aren't from St. Nicholas, but they remind us of the legendary saint. And that sounds good enough to me.
That's right. That's right.
Now let's get into the real debate. What are some of the best Christmas movies that feature Santa Claus? Of course, A Christmas Story is a classic that gets 24-hour marathons every Christmas season, which really warms my heart. Who can forget the Italian leg lamp, the Double Dog Dares, or the Christmas duck? And haven't we all at some point coveted our own proverbial Red Ryder BB gun?
Let me say, a lot of people would put this movie on the worst Christmas movies list. There are a lot of haters. My brother, some of my cousins. I guess after watching it a dozen times, they're just bitter about the whole situation. But haters gonna hate, and good movies can be watched over and over again. without regret. Now, Dan, I know you don't like Will Ferrell, but I just gotta say that Elf is a modern-day masterpiece. Sure, it's silly at times, but so wholesome and funny that it makes up for it. What do you think?
This is the one exception I will make to my general rule that Will Ferrell is awful. It's nice to see him in Elf being something that's not that. You know, he's not Ron Burgundy. He's not Ricky Bobby. He's just some cotton-headed ninny muggins who is in the North Pole and wants to find his dad.
Dad! Bruh.
Yeah, it's just got a lot of heart. I like it.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Finally, another classic, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. The figurine style may seem corny to us today, but it also has so many good attributes, and I grew up watching it, so I'm a fan.
That's a great one. Classic. Grew up watching it. And that one is surprisingly quotable as well. Honestly, for me, that's more quotable than Elf, and maybe even more quotable than A Christmas Story, if I'm being honest.
Nothing.
Yeah, and that dentist elf is, he's special.
Evan, are you implying that Herbie was a homosexual?
I would never accuse somebody of that. Perhaps just a soy boy.
Hey, what do you say we both be
Extremely gay.
together, huh?
And then there's the Island of Misfit Toys. What an interesting concept. We just send all the people who are weird to one island. I mean, I'm not saying we should, but I mean, we could try it.
That's right.
All right, so we've talked about some of the good ones, but there's some real stinkers out there. What are the worst Santa Claus movies? And here's a hot take from yours truly. The Polar Express, okay? Creepy as f***. And knowing what I know now, Tom Hanks doesn't belong anywhere near children.
What is your problem? The Polar Express is one of the best Christmas movies. I understand why you think it's creepy, because it's got a different vibe to it. It's built different.
The animation is just strange. I'm glad you recognize that. That it's almost like their eyes are just kind of, they're not there. They're soulless a little bit. It lacks expression. Some of the characters are better than others, but it's a little creepy, especially with the kids. Like, creepy kids are more creepy than creepy adults. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a weird vibe to it, but I always thought it was a magical movie as a kid. I love that movie. I think it really hit home because the movie is an analogy for growing up. You know, so these kids are on the verge of not believing in Santa anymore. They're that age. So when he goes there and he doesn't hear Santa anymore, it's like he's moving on. He's almost too mature for it. Is he going to maintain his childlike innocence, or is he going to grow up and face the real world? And that's the battle.
Lean, whatever that's supposed to mean.
Shut up, bitch!
Okay, so what about the live action Grinch? Now, technically, there's no real Santa Claus in that, but he does dress up as Santa. Does that count?
I think it counts.
Okay, well then that movie's trash.
The live action version, yeah.
The live action version for sure is bad. The original I think is great
I think it's one of the best.
because it's got funny little songs. It's got the great Dr. Seuss animation.
And the music. Oh,
Gosh, so many great hits.
you're a mean one.
Mr. Grinch. It does tell a tale of growing up, but in a different way. Growing up emotionally. It's an incredible story. But Jim Carrey just had to take a dump on it, and I don't appreciate that. Not one bit.
Oh, to take care of those pesky memories.
Lastly, let's talk about which is better, Dirty Santa or Secret Santa. Here is my unbiased summary of both. Secret Santa. Everyone gets a personalized gift from somebody who put a lot of effort into choosing something perfect. The words that come to mind: peaceful, merry, joyful. Now, Dirty Santa. Everyone brings a piece of commercialized junk that they try to trick others into getting in exchange for something better. It's impersonal. Once a gift is opened, it will be stolen by somebody if it's any good. It's a vicious process of the survival of the fittest. The ruthless and lucky will come out happy. Most will leave disappointed and bitter. And what is more appropriate for the Christmas season than hatred and bitterness?
The only time you might find yourself happy to be playing Dirty Santa is if you're at my family gathering, where I can almost guarantee you'll walk away with a box of 9mm ammo that my liberal family members don't pick.
Oh my god, I shot my eye out!
We hope you enjoyed this little holiday special, and we sincerely hope that you have a wonderful Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, but don't make New Year's resolutions.
For that one, tune in to Hot Takes episode 23.